Screw your freedom.
What's going on, guys? So today is just going to be a video kind of responding to Greg Doucette. Also Arnold Schwarzenegger. So if you don't know what's going on, essentially Arnold was talking about how people need to get vaccinated, wear a mask, protect themselves and other people, and he kind of made fun of people who were like, hey, some of these things kind of are taking away my freedoms. Like, I don't want to get vaccinated, or I don't want to have to wear a mask. And Arnold said, well, screw your freedoms. I'll put that in right here.
Screw your freedom.
So he goes on to say that it's because it's your job as a citizen that you have to kind of give up some freedoms. Not necessarily wrong, but how he said it was not good at all, and it's kind of scary how he's just so easily thinking like, you have to get vaccinated or you have to do this, like screw your freedom. Greg Doucette made a response about this, how people are canceling Arnold. People like Brian Shaw, Callum Von Moger, two really big Arnold supporters, took down their posters of Arnold. Callum threw his out. Then we have Redcon 1 stops being a sponsor of the Arnold Classic, which is a huge event for strongman and bodybuilding and a bunch of other things. Just a huge expo, huge event. It's like the second biggest bodybuilding show, and probably the second biggest strongman show too, I'd say. A lot of people are really upset by this, as you can see. Like, these are very pro-American people that some of them aren't even American. Like, Callum is not American. So it's just, these people are like, you can't say that. Like, that's screwed up. You can't say screw your freedoms, especially in Western society where freedom is like the biggest thing ever. Like, when you become a citizen in the United States, if you're from another country, one of the biggest things they want you to understand are what are your freedoms and what are your responsibilities as a citizen. And one of the responsibilities is not to wear a mask or to get vaccinated. So Arnold is wrong. He's saying that we have responsibilities as citizens, but that's not a responsibility as a US citizen to have to do that. Now, there are certain vaccines you have to get, but the COVID vaccine is not one of them listed. You don't need the COVID vaccine to go to school. You don't need it to go to work. They might do that one day, but right now that is not listed as a requirement. It goes on to say, it's like, why are we canceling people? Why are we canceling Arnold? All this stuff.
Every single thing they say, we judge them and we cancel them for any opinion they might have.
And I'm watching his video and I'm like, Greg, what are you talking about, man? So Greg is a really big proponent against canceling. He hates when people get canceled. And Greg seems to be, I don't want to make this very political even though it is, he seems to be more of like a moderate to like left-leaning kind of person. But he goes on a lot about how he doesn't like people getting canceled. But Arnold's not getting canceled. Like, this quote-unquote cancel thing, the cancel culture that a lot of people try to do, Arnold isn't getting that. So I made a comment about this on the page, on his post, but I want to make a video to explain it better. To be canceled, you have to like systematically be like blacklisted from anything. So I'll give you an example. Gina Carano from The Mandalorian. She made a whole bunch of tweets and comments about not vaccinating and not wearing a mask and all this stuff. Some of it a little too much, some of it was whatever, but it wasn't like she was saying super offensive things. To some people it could have been, but she was saying that some of these things, kind of comparing them to like how the Nazis were. But when Arnold says screw your freedoms, that does come off like a little bit how the Nazis were. So, not saying either one's right. When she was going on about that stuff, I'm like, I get what you're saying. I agree with you on some of it, but you're going a little too much. But that is her freedom to say what she wants. A lot of people disagreed with that, and they canceled her. She was fired from the show. She was going to get her own TV show for her character in Star Wars. Got rid of the show. She got fired from the show. We don't know what's going to happen on the show now. because she was a main character and now she's gone. And she's like not like put in any movies anymore. She's like has to like reach out to people to kind of like not keep her popularity but keep her relevance. Like Ben Shapiro is working with her to have some sort of documentary so she can still keep her relevance and still keep in the limelight when she was like a big star who just happened to have a different opinion than left-leaning people. Another one is actually James Gunn. James Gunn had a tweet from like I think when it came out, it was about like 10 or 11 years before, like 10 or 11 years at the time. And it was like just tweets about like stupid stuff. Like he was trying to make like stupid jokes that like weren't really funny, but that's just how James Gunn is. He's like a weirdo. He makes weirdo movies. He makes like tries to make jokes and not all of them land because he tries to be funny. And he got fired from Disney for so he couldn't make any more Guardians of the Galaxy movies. And that's why he made the Suicide Squad movie for DC, because DC was like, we don't care, like, he's a good director, that stuff's old, we'll take him. So he made a movie for them, and he's probably going to make more. Marvel and Disney realized their mistake, and they hired him back. Not everyone gets lucky like James Gunn, where they can get hired back from something that happened years ago. I've heard countless stories. I've heard kids that were, like, in middle school were on Twitter, and they might have said the N-word, and now they weren't allowed to go to Harvard, or they lost their scholarship somewhere because the school found out that they said the N-word on Twitter when they were like 8 years old, and now they are removed from life. Like, that's canceling people. That's canceling them. Like, systematically removing them from social media or making them basically have nothing. Like, removing huge parts of their life. I'm sure there's going to be some athletes that don't want to go to the Arnold Classic anymore. I'm sure Brian Shaw is not going to compete in the strongman division in Arnold Classic anymore. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some bodybuilders down the line that don't want to compete in the Arnold Classic anymore. But no one's saying we need to cancel the Arnold Classic. Arnold should be banned from ever making a movie or ever being in a movie. We should ban all of his Instagrams, his Twitters, and everything. Arnold should not be allowed to speak publicly in the world. Like, my phone keeps slipping. There's a lot of things like that not we, but people are not doing. Get unfollowed. He might lose people that like supported him. But I mean, that's what happens when you say something people don't agree with. That's what happens. Canceling is just, again, what happened to Gina, or like high school students that had like these things come out, or James Gunn before DC was like, no, he's fine. Like, stuff like that. That's what canceling is. Arnold's not getting canceled. If anything, Arnold doesn't really care. He literally made a comment about it. He was like, you guys don't understand what I'm saying. Here's a link to what I was saying. But it was just a link about, like, getting vaccinated and all that stuff. We understood what you were saying. It's just, you said, screw your freedoms, and that's terrible. Like, listen, I know you hate canceling, but no one is canceling Arnold. Arnold is going to be okay from this. The Arnold Classic is not going to go away. That is still going to be the second biggest bodybuilding show and the second biggest strongman show. It's going to be still the biggest sports expo in the world once you're allowed to have the expo again. It's not taking away Arnold's Olympia trophies. It's not like, oh, another person. Sean Roden was accused of rape of a woman in 2019. I think it was 2018 he was accused. And the Olympia canceled Sean Roden. There has not been a trial. No one knows if he actually did it or not. No one knows the full story. He could have or he couldn't have. The trial has not gone through. There's been no verdict. No one knows the actual truth. But the Olympia was like, nope, we don't want you. So Sean Roden is basically like non-existent. So it's like Mr. Olympia number 14. It's like you skip him. It's like Phil Heath was 13, and then you go to number 15 was Brandon Curry, and then 16's Rami. Like, there's no one was number 14. Number 14 just never existed. And that's how they're making it seem. Sean Roden was canceled. Like, Sean Roden doesn't do anything besides, like, he'll post on, like, Instagram, or he'll show up in, like, people's YouTube videos. But he's not at these shows. I think he's gone to the Olympia Expos a couple times, and some of these expos, but he's not competing when he's still a pro. He's not allowed to compete. That's canceled. Arnold did not lose his Olympias. People still see Arnold as, 5 or 6 time Olympia champion. people still see him as that Olympia champion. He still has the second biggest show for multiple different sports, the biggest expo for bodybuilding and just fitness in general. He's still a very successful movie star. He's still a very successful politician. He's still got millions of followers on Instagram. He's still got like all this stuff. No one's taking away his house. No one's burning his house down. People just didn't agree with him. That's all it is. I just wanted to clear it up because it kind of bothered me how Greg was going on and on about how it's cancel culture and he's canceled and all this stuff when Arnold's just like, whatever, like, Redcon doesn't want to sponsor me? Alright, mutant, here we go. You guys don't want to do my show? Alright, you're lost. You're not making money then. Anyone who wants to come to my show, like, I still pay for your flight and your hotel room. You can come compete, like, let's have fun. I don't agree with what he said about screw your freedom, but I also don't agree with people kind of blowing this super out of proportion. Like, Greg saying that he's being canceled when he's not. Like, if people just disagree with him and don't want to do his things anymore, don't want to support him, who cares? It's not affecting Arnold. It's not like Sean Roden, who's barred from life from the Olympia, Gina Carano, who lost a huge multi-million-dollar contract probably for Star Wars. It's not like James Gunn, who was fired from another multi-million-dollar contract for a movie, and he was only lucky that another movie company let him film for them, and then people forgave him. So you never know, and this stuff goes on and on and on. It's so stupid. Cancel culture is so stupid. If you don't like someone, people should do what people are doing to Arnold. If you don't like it, unfollow. It's not, unless they freaking killed someone. Like, I get the Sean Roden thing kind of, but he was never accused. Like, or he was never, there's no verdict. So we don't know. If there's a verdict and he comes out guilty, yeah, cancel him. Who cares? He did a terrible thing. But if it comes out that he was not guilty and there's no way it happens, I mean, there's going to be the people who don't believe it, and there is that chance that he could have got off free, but if by law he's fine. So it's like, if you did something terrible, okay, cancel them. But like saying that you're screw your freedoms, yeah, that's a shitty thing, but it's not horrific. Saying something like comparing how Democrats and other people are making policies, it's kind of Nazi-like. It is kind of similar. Not entirely, but there are some vague similarities you can make. You don't have to agree with them. Why don't cancel them? Just don't agree with them. Like, it's not a horrific thing to say. It's not like she's like, we should murder everyone. Like, it's stupid. This video is going on way longer than I thought, but it just really, really bugged me that this whole cancel culture thing from Greg came out, and it's not that at all. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea of what it is, because I feel like people are just mixing it up when it's not that at all. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I still like Arnold. He's still my guy. I still want to get a poster of Arnold in my room. I know he's not my favorite person nowadays, but he still is a great bodybuilder, and he still was like my childhood hero. I wanted to look like Arnold. I love Arnold's movies. There's very few Arnold movies I don't like. So, you know, just, I love Chris Evans, and I do not agree with him at all politically, but I have a freaking Captain America Chris Evans fucking statue or some shit. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't have to agree with you politically to like you. Like, your politics are one thing, but other things about you, yeah, I mean, Arnold's personality isn't the best right now, but, you know, I used to love how he was, so I'm still going to support Arnold. I'm still going to follow him. I'm still going to watch the Arnold Classic. I still want to go one day. So that's what my opinion. You guys can write in the comments below your opinion. If you're looking for a coach, I'm coaching. Reach out to me. DM me on Instagram. That's the best way to reach me. Remember, like, comment, and subscribe. Maybe write some comments. How do you feel about this? Write some comments whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me, or Arnold, or Greg, or whoever. And write some comments of stuff you guys want to see. I will see you guys next time. And remember, stay massive.
Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on.